the Macworld folks, who I haven't spoken at a Macworld for a number of years. I used to speak at them quite a bit, and the last couple of years I got re-involved with them. And last year I had done a big keynote event, which was a 20th anniversary of Photoshop thing with two buddies of mine from Adobe, and very well received. And actually, the whole thing is up on the internet, so up on YouTube, so people can watch that if they want. We even did a demo of Photoshop 1.0 to the audience. A 20-year-old piece of software that we showed to a very appreciative audience. Anyway, so what ended up happening was I was slotted to speak again at this most recent Macworld. I did a few different sessions. And I had gotten a call, actually, from one of the people who I deal with at the Macworld Expo parent company. And she said, look, I need to talk to you about something. She didn't want to email me. I thought, oh, that's kind of odd. So I called her up. Hey, Kathy, what's going on? Well, David, my legal department has asked me to call you because we got this piece of email, this really odd piece of email that we just want to talk to you about. And she's like, I really kind of want to talk to you on the phone because, this is just like so out there. And I'm thinking, oh, no. What she says is, I'm like, oh, here it comes. And it turns out Korff had sent these guys an email claiming to be some journalist who wanted to fly in from Europe to do the expo, and he was concerned about his safety because of one of my understanding is that a man named David Biedny will be one of the featured speakers at Macworld, although he is not a quote-unquote industry heavyweight per se. It's like, hey, Cal, you might want to get a spell checker, man. You might want to learn how to write, you idiot. My concern in coming to your event has to do with personal safety. David Biedny has threatened me with physical violence, blah, blah, blah. And he goes into this, did you ever threaten him with physical violence? Don, at one point when he had been hounding me via email, and was saying crazy stuff to me. I mean, kind of along the lines of the stuff he had been telling Royce Myers. Anybody who's interested can go and find all sorts of stuff that, in fact, many, many moons ago on the Paracast forums, I had posted some of his correspondence he had with Royce, which Royce gave me to put out there. He wanted people to realize just how deeply demented Korff is. Korff is a delusional lunatic. That's just the deal. And it's kind of like when I said to you when you originally wanted me to come on the show, and I expressed my concern to you that, look, this guy is like mentally unstable, and to give him attention is to feed the beast. He's desperate for attention. Now, look, he had sent, he had sent the Macworld people this piece of email, which essentially really tried to do harm to me with them. And, I have a working relationship with them, which I've had for a long time. So the fact that he, in this email, is trying to sort of put me down and, he's not an industry heavyweight per se. It's like, well, no, actually, Korff, I am. So, and these people are friends of mine, and you're sending this, and it's not like they believe anything you're saying. But the fact that he would go and do something like this is the kind of thing that's really so above and beyond anything reasonable. It really is. And so what ended up happening, your question about whether or not I ever threatened him, at one point when I tried to basically push this guy away from me, and he was getting belligerent via emails, I sent him a piece of email saying, hey, listen, back off or you don't want to meet me. And, hey, listen, what can I say? This guy was really pushing buttons, and I just said, hey, back away. I don't want to deal with you. And really it came down to me understanding that this guy was unhinged and that, I have no reason to want anyone like this anywhere near my life. So I basically sent him an email saying, back off, get away. And in his, demented state, in his delusional mind, he sort of takes whatever he wants and twists it to mean whatever he wants it to mean. I mean, the guy lives in a fantasy world.
Well, there's a reason why he is living currently in the Czech Republic, and he has not been back to the States. I mean, there are several individuals here just waiting for him to land so they can serve him with lawsuits.
Right.
And
right. His family apparently has a fairly colorful history with, creating problems for people. So originally, the whole way that I got to be in the position where I'm even talking to you about this was at one point me essentially extending a hand of support when I realized that he was engaged in a debate with another idiot, Michael Horn. Another just kind of a whack job, delusional, psychotic, hateful, abusive stalker. This field has no lack of these kind of people, Don. And I'm glad to be away from this because of the fact that I don't necessarily want to interact with folks like this. Certainly not someone like Korff, who, he's unhinged and basically trying to do stuff like this with people who are professional associates is really, it's obviously legally questionable, except the fact that to try to get any kind of legal satisfaction or to try to, keep him at arm's length, financially is not something that, look, if I had real lawyers and real money, I could go to Google and get them to pull down that hateful YouTube video, which unfortunately, when you plot my name into Google, it's at the very top of the hit list because of the fact that Google owns YouTube.
But there is one saving grace, David. If you go up and you look at how many views these things have had over the last few years, I mean, it's absolutely laughable.
Oh, I understand that, Don, but the problem being that at this point in time, right, if you're looking to certainly do freelance consulting work, if you're looking to do full-time or part-time work for companies, the most basic level of due diligence that they're going to do, hopefully, is Google your name. Now, when I got involved with the Paracast, I knew that I was creating some future problems potentially. And did I really think out the ramifications of what I was doing to a degree where I really thought it out and thought, okay, should I get involved in doing this show? No, because I actually felt compelled to talk about this material, about these topics. But the simple fact of the matter is that when somebody types my name in, and this thing is at the very top of the list, for a lot of people, this is the kind of flack that will basically be a huge red flag. To do any kind of due diligence into this guy is to realize that, he's a cyber stalker. He's cyber stalked a number of people. He's someone who has shown this kind of delusional behavior for many years.
Well, as a matter of fact, he's listed on a website devoted to cyber stalking.
There you go. So, but the problem being that most people will not do that kind of due diligence on him, and instead will, unfortunately, hit that first line of Google foo, see that, not do any due diligence into who he is, but basically it's a guilt by association thing. And, Don, here's the thing. That video definitely violates YouTube's own standards in policies in terms of hate speech. And I've alerted that to them. And look, at one point, a bunch of Paracast audience members had flagged that to YouTube. But sadly, without having real money to pay to a lawyer to go after this kind of stuff continues unabated. And it's a huge problem. So in that sense, there is some catharsis in talking to you about this. But at the same time, we have to realize that part of the problem with this is that essentially it continues to feed his beast. It gives him the attention that he wants. He'll do anything for attention, and sadly we're fulfilling that. And so in that sense, I approach this whole thing sort of with a sense of a little bit of dread. But also, it's good to be able to talk about this a little bit. I haven't really told anybody about that Macworld thing. But it's a huge pain in the ass. And, it definitely, it's the kind of thing where if he were in front of me, he'd have to answer for this. Am I threatening him? Hey, listen, we're men. What the hell, man? If you get in front of me and threaten me and try to mess with my life, don't think I'm not going to do anything to defend myself, especially if you were like standing in front of me. You know,
well, you and I both know that David is never going to happen. Look, I've got to wrap.
Right.
I've got to wrap this segment up. I still have one more to do, and then the round table. So what I
you
would
got me worked up at the end there, and man, I should be way more even keeled about all of this, because look at the source, right? It's just like the Village Idiot, but. Boy, you know.
Well, David, we're going to have you back for the round table. So, my friend, I want to thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Don. Thank you.